Right, so how's that for you? I can see you. You're sort of.
How close to the top of the frame?
But he's a bit too far away. He's about too far away from the top of the frame.
But you kinder! Lighting alright?
Yeah, lighting's good. You're about my finger thickness away from the top of the frame. Look, see? My finger's on his head.
I have no.
I squash him. I squash him. Squash. 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 Oh, go away. Go away. Bing!
So fucking stupid. Alright.
Should we get on with this then?
Yes, are you going to flip the screen round? Hello and welcome to this very special R Squared Studios look inside the actor studio with me, Paul Dalton.
And me, Tom Quill.
We are the co-creators and co-writers of the new web series that will be debuting shortly on this very channel, Third Degree. But we thought we'd take this opportunity to show you what goes into the making of this show, how we came up with the premise, the characters, even some of the scripts and some of the jokes. So, we'd like to get the ball rolling.
You mean you're actually letting them inside our heads?
Sort of, we can't let them go too far. So.
It's a very dangerous place, that.
I don't like it. So,
yeah.
Shall we get the ball rolling?
Yeah, this is how we do the writing. Yeah, that's the first ingredient.
Step one, complete. So, how this came about, the way I remember it, I was a fan of I still am, a fan of the TV show Arrow, the Green Arrow the TV show. And I thought,
Bang.
Exactly, Robin Hood in America, and the DC Universe. And I basically had this idea of basically cobbling together a trailer, because working in professional wrestling, you know, a bunch of guys who can do basically stunts and martial arts type manoeuvres. I thought that, we could, darkly lit and all these well choreographed stunts, things like that, a kind of superhero type thing. I had the name like Red X, I think I was going to call it. It was something like that, sort of a generic working title. And you told me superheroes, everyone does superheroes, do some original.
Let's be original.
Yeah, exactly. And you had the idea of a sitcom. I said, well, what's original about a sitcom? I mean, there's millions of the bloody things.
And I think my reply was something like, you see them done sort of like Friends or How I Met Your Mother, where it's a group of friends, or you see like this proper process like Porridge set in a prison. Mask, not entirely a sitcom, but based around a surgical hospital, a military hospital.
Yeah.
Scrubs, things like that. And I turned around and said, has there ever been one set at a British university?
And we couldn't think of one. The closest we could think was The In-Betweeners, because it was originally a school and they moved on to college, but it wasn't a university, living in the dorms and things.
Yeah, but if anything, it was very similar to, I think probably the closest relation you see is Big Bang, if you're thinking from America.
Sort of, yeah, because they're professors at Caltech, and they're not students, and this was because we're not professors ourselves, and we're not university students, but we know more. We know people who are, and we've dealt with that kind of environment. So we thought that's something we can work with in a sense of writing what you know, and that's always a good rule when you're writing something, whether it's a show, a movie, or a book. You write what you know, and if you're making things up, then obviously because you're making it up with like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. If it's something that is grounded in reality, like a show like this, or like The Big Bang Theory or Friends, you have to get things right. One of the things that people credit Big Bang Theory for, and I think I love, when they reference, whether it's comic books or science, the facts are always right.
Yeah. And usually I can verify whether the science ones are right, you verify the comic books.
Exactly. I mean, we'll come back to Third Degree.
It's an all-star team, they see it.
We'll come back to Third Degree in a minute, I promise. Because there's a good bit in Big Bang Theory. And you'll know why we keep bringing up Big Bang Theory in a minute. Because I've mentioned that everyone in my family likes Big Bang Theory. Me, my brother, my sister, my dad. And I like it on the comic book as well as the science level. They're more into the science thing. And there's a bit where Penny was on a date with Stuart, the guy who runs the comic book store, and she brought him back to the apartment, invited him in for coffee, and he actually thinks coffee means coffee.
Oh, you think coffee means coffee?
Exactly. And Sheldon kind of comes out of the apartment and says, "Oh, you know, I'm interrupting. No, sorry, we're just having coffee." And Penny's like, "What the hell?" And it's having this discussion, debate, argument about Sheldon in a forum on the DC website talking about if Bruce Wayne's death is permanent, Dick Grayson's the logical choice to be the new Batman permanently. And Stuart said, no, Dick Grayson became Nightwing, a superhero in his own right. It should be Jason Todd, the second Robin, who was killed and then came back because it's a comic book death and no one ever stays dead. And yeah, Adele, Penny, much like my brother, my dad, and my sister, had that, and you, had that look at it like, you idiot, you're talking about comic books with this guy instead of going in and having sex with this girl who's clearly into you because she's invited you in for coffee. But meanwhile, I'm loving it because obviously I'm getting that joke as well. But I know who Jason Todd is. I know who Nightwing is. You know, so they get it right on that level. It's not the stereotype comic book nerd jokes.
Yeah.
And they make sure they get them right. There's an episode where they're playing Klingon Boggle, right? And I don't speak Klingon. You know, I'm not that into Star Trek. But they're coming out with these things like "pakta" and all this stuff, "gekta," and I don't know if they are, but I can guarantee they're actual Klingon words. Because if they were, someone who's into Klingon would write the show, and would write to the show and say, no, they're not real Klingon words. You're just using stereotypes and blah blah blah. So,
but of course, the other side of that and everything like that, all you have to do is read a German dictionary while completely pissed out your face, and anybody can speak Klingon.
You can barely speak English, you know what I mean? We've only had one can, not even had that yet. But we come back to Big Bang Theory because when we came up with this premise, we mentioned this in a university in England. It's a group of friends, and you know what's the premise? Obviously, they're a group of friends. Do we see them meet? Have they been friends for years? What's the backstory? And the way we came up with it, we kind of back and forth a little bit over a couple of beers, obviously.
I don't know whether you want to cover how we came up with the name separately.
Yeah,
we started off around a couple of beers, on this very sofa, I think it was.
We started here, and we walked down to one of our local halls where we normally go for bitters.
Yeah.
Sampling
the ales.
Yeah, which may actually feature in an episode if we, get permission to do it. We'll come to that later.
Or cheat.
Yeah. And we had this back and forth. So basically, we were going to meet a guy who's going to university. That's how it was going to open up. This guy's going to university. And he meets the people that are already there. He's going to be in his first year at uni, and he's going to be living with people in their second year. Or third, depending, who we get cast. If they're too old to be in the second year, or if they're in their third year, what kind of thing.
I think
we learn about the characters through that, because it's that kind of audience surrogate, like Winston in Ghostbusters. Ray explains things to Winston, so the audience knows what happens. Where do we put the ghosts when they got them in the traps? All right, this is how the trap works. You've got the trap here, blah blah, boom boom, and Winston's like, oh, okay, and the audience goes, oh, that's what happens. It's that.
So
the conduit.
With our case, it's Pete meets everybody and finds out what they're like. So does the audience.
Exactly, and that's exactly right. This video's out before we started filming Third Degree, obviously. So it's not a shock to you that I'm speaking to you with an English voice, but it would have been because my character is Canadian.
How long that long it take you to turn Canadian?
Well, because that came about, because we were having a couple of beers.
That came about in Edinburgh, actually.
Well, no, I mean the Don character being in Third Degree as Canadian, because originally it was going to be a bunch of British people. It was going to be the three guys and a girl in a university. And there's the outsider perspective, because these guys all know each other, and they have interpersonal relationships. And this is the new guy coming in and trying to build off it. And because when I've had a few drinks, and we've had a few drinks, and it's quite a boring night, to liven things up a bit, I'll turn Canadian. In real life, I'll just put on a Canadian accent, because I'll make things more entertaining. So just talking to a girl at the bar, it's like she's already got her drink, but she's just I'm trying to get to the bar. It's like, Shubi, can I get through there? And it's like, oh yeah, sorry, where are you from? Oh, sorry, I'm Canadian. And conversation. If I just said, Shubi, can you get through, love? Nothing. But it makes the night more interesting. So all of these drinks, we were going through it. I said, what if Don was a character? Don being the alter ego I play when I put on the Canadian voice. I've got a backstory and everything, which is basically what the Don character is in Third Degree. That's who I was when I've had a few drinks and the night's a bit boring. I'm Don, I'm from Scarborough, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, Don is Drunken Paul.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, how that actually came about was slightly by accident and slightly because we were very drunk. The actual invention of Don, the creation of Don.
Remind me, how did Don come about?
Don came about of me, Paul, and a friend of ours, Dodders, who we flew in from Ireland.
I've been doing Don before Edinburgh, hadn't I?
I'm talking about the whole incarnation of how I met Don.
Oh.
I mean, that's where I saw Don's invented, because it's the first time I'd seen you do it. And it started as an accident where we were winding Dodders up, where we realised my American accent sounds Irish. Consequently, we sat in a restaurant in Edinburgh, speaking in an Irish accent, winding Dodders up, because he'd just flown in from Ireland and was sick of it. By the time we'd walked 4 pubs down the road, he was then Canadian, and we managed to convince a bar with 300 people in it about his Canadian backstory. And this has come as far as every time we've gone back up there, he's been Canadian, and around 3...
Just in case we run into the same person who remembers us.
Yeah, which 3 weeks ago nearly bit me in the bum.
Getting a phone call off you, because, Paul, how good's your memory? Why? When we were in 1780, yeah, were you Canadian? Yes I was. Okay, because that same waitress is here, she remembers me. Okay.
That waitress will not be named for reasons...
Of a legal nature.
of a legal nature and the sanity of my bollocks.
So the title came about, because we mentioned it separately, because we said this is a guy going to university, so what if he's done it more than once, he's tried it a few times? And you said, what if
we called it Third Degree?
Because it's his third time at university, and this time he's going to get it right. Like, love it, love it, love it.
At this time we were walking through the door of a pub. By the time we walked back out of that pub, we knew the blueprint for the first episode.
And we knew the blueprint of the first episode and the skeleton of the first structure. That got slightly changed later on. We knew where it was going to end up going. Because it started off as basically a will they, won't they, was going to be a basic...
Don't blow it.
Yeah, I'm not saying who between. It was basically going to be a will they, won't they, and kind of Ross and Rachel type thing. And we realised you can't do that through the whole thing. We've got to have subplots or whatever, and we devised ways of doing it, you know, friends of the people and blah 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 blah, and you know, people move on. You know, like, Ross and Rachel wasn't all will they, won't they. Rachel got a boyfriend, Ross got a girlfriend, and you know, it kind of petered out. Leonard and Penny, same basically season 1 of Big Bang Theory was will they, won't they, Leonard and Penny. Season 2 got away from that. There was still an interest there, but it wasn't the driving force of the whole show.
Yeah. And this resulted in sort of like, right, what's each character like?
Yeah. And we knew Don, because I've lived Don. You know?
Yeah.
Alright, the character of Don is what you are when you've had a couple of drinks. So, okay, what's Adam was originally called just Tom. We didn't have a character name for that.
So we bother explain the backstory of why Adam's Adam.
We'll come to that. Yeah. And it was basically, and this is where we'll come back to Big Bang Theory, because we like to think of Big Bang Theory and How I Met Your Mother, a couple of our favourite shows, and this is kind of halfway between them. We like them both, and there's traits from both shows that we like to take. I mean, there's other show stories like Friends and Seinfeld. I mean, every sitcom basically borrows from Seinfeld, but more so from Friends. And that's where this came from. So basically, the way you are on a night out, the way, you know, you've got the bravado and, you know, flashing the cash, you're basically Barney Stinson. That's how you came in. That's how I got you to watch How I Met Your Mother in the first place.
It's sort of like, you're not going to believe this, you're in this.
Yeah, but basically, watch this with the thinking of, Ted is me, Marshall is a guy we used to know, and...
Somebody that we used to know.
But then we went and cut him off. And you are Barney, you're the guy in the suit. Okay, I like this. What else about him? He's rich and he shags lots of blonde bimbos. okay, I'm watching this show.
I'm watching this show, yeah.
And fell in love with this thing.
Yeah,
You know?
and now we're, at this moment in time, we're, about 7 or 8 episodes from it being finished. So, we need to get filming pretty quickly, because something needs to take its place.
Exactly, and third degree,
Yeah.
that'd be it. Yeah.
Yeah, watch us, please.
Click here, like, subscribe. There. I'll put the link in somewhere.
Yeah.
Why you're called Adam? Like I said, being involved in professional wrestling. Paul Dalton, actually, pseudonym. It's not my real name; it's my stage name. Because my real name doesn't sound good for TV type things. So years ago, I came up with this.
Might as well call him Paul Cowpat.
Yeah. Basically, so I came up with this. People have, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that kind of Bret the Hitman Hart. I had this.
Doink the Clown.
Doink the Clown. Yeah, I had X-rated Paul Dalton. And X-rated was going to be a nickname. And cut to years later, I'm actually doing professional wrestling, and I just never got around to using Paul Dalton. X-rated was just my ring name. You didn't want to use your real name, so you came up with. It wasn't Adam originally, but you liked.
I like the Adrenaline Rush tagline.
Yeah, it was going to be like Bret Hitman Hart, something Adrenaline Rush. Rush was going to be the surname with the Adrenaline Rush thing.
And of course, what's the thing that works in every form of promo and try to make something make sense and look good on a t-shirt? Alliteration.
Yeah. So you had the double A, you had Adam Adrenaline Rush.
Yeah.
Plus you just liked Matt Hardy's promo, Adam, you bastard!
Yeah, I just wanted someone to call me a bastard.
Yeah.
And it's happened quite a lot, actually. Let's say, through professional wrestling, everything like that. I've been using that name now for how long?
2011. No, 2012.
2012. So for 2 years now, on a Friday or Saturday night, in a building full of 300 people, everyone thinks I'm called Adam.
Yeah.
So this is only going to add to the issue, really, with that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where people are shouting Adam in the street and I completely ignore them. Hence why most people shout Adam, you bastard.
Yeah. So the characters, we've got Don, who we've covered ad nauseum, Adam, who we just covered.
Mm-hmm. There's actually quite a funny story of how we describe that to...
Oh yeah, but people who want to know what the show is about, what these characters are like. Basically, I'm Canadian, he's drunk. That. and the way it started out as well, it was going to be that Don was like Diet You. Don was like halfway between Adam and Pete. So
it was that Link character.
That Link thing. And recently we put on a comparison to like Chandler. Chandler Bing is one of the greatest characters in TV history, very underrated, because he's the link for the entire show of Friends.
Yeah, holds it together. Without, you can't see the links if Chandler isn't there.
Yeah. Monica and Ross, brother and sister. Where's Joey fit in? Phoebe used to live with Monica. Okay, but she still hangs out with them. Yeah, I can kind of buy that. Rachel, it was a fluke coincidence of Rachel even coming back into their lives. Started living with Monica. Wouldn't be able to if Phoebe was still living there. And where's Joey fit in? And Chandler being the guy living across he knows Monica because he lives across from her. Knows Phoebe because knew Phoebe when he was living with Monica. Chandler holds the group, and he was at college with Ross. So he knows Rachel from back in the college days. He's really over imbibed because Joey, Phoebe, and Rachel don't know each other.
Yeah.
Without Chandler. Joey, Phoebe, and Rachel. Did I say that? Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Friends. That's another show.
Of course, the other way of putting it is like for people who don't watch How I Met Your Mother, the best way of putting it is the Adam character would be more like Joey.
Sort of. He's an intelligent Joey. I mean, later on, Joey was kind of portrayed as really moronic, but in early seasons, he was just a bit shallow and maybe a little slow. He was just more shallow than anything else. He was really a dummy in the later shows. And Adam he's very intelligent. He's not book smart, but he's crafty. He's conniving. He's
basically he's smart on the ways of the world.
Yes. Which is why one of the recent things I've thought of is for a blurb when I'm giving a treatment to studios and things for this is Pete is going to, this time it's his third time at university, he's going to do it right. but his housemates have other ideas on what the right way is. Which is why, I can say about the first episode is how we meet everyone, and we get more of a look into what the characters are like by taking Pete out because it's Freshers Week.
Yeah.
Pete mentions, I thought you'd have plans tonight. It's Freshers Week, and we're in our second year. Oh, okay. You're not, are you? Don, he's a fresher. Oh God, you're right. Let's go to the bar. And it goes from there, and you see Don pulls off screen. He's like, what about her? She doesn't do anything. Well, she does for me. Hang on. He buggers off for a couple of minutes, and then he leaves the bar. Walks past and leaves the bar with a girl, and that's basically as far as the womanising with Don goes.
Whereas every single sticky situation we seem to end up in, that's probably the wrong way to describe. But
that's kind of gross.
But quite a few of the situations that we end up in Third Degree involve Adam having to pull a woman in some sort of way to make things slightly easier.
Yeah, kind of. That's a good way of boiling it down. The other character we haven't mentioned is Sarah.
Yeah. The only woman Adam probably doesn't pull in the entire series.
Yeah, you could say that. He doesn't pull every woman, obviously, but
the only one he's not interested in.
The one he has no intention of,
yeah.
who has a recurring role. She lives with them as well. She's second year, and when we brought this character, we had a friend of ours in mind. Right, she's agreed to do it, but I'm not saying her name in case it falls apart when we come time to do the filming. But basically, this character is this friend of ours. And she was written basically, and we've said this to her as well. So it's not. She's basically, I can't remember the character's name, but from Sister Act, the bigger known in Sister Act, and the other sister in Hocus Pocus. You got Bette Midler, you got Sarah Jessica Parker, and you got the other one who was the nun.
It's like the bubbly, vibrant.
Yeah, the bigger one. Yeah, and that's her. She's mentally in a good way, have a good laugh with her, and that's what this character's based on. So, loosely.
Another way of putting it is the Ghost of Christmas Present in The Muppets Christmas Carol, a female version of that kind of jolly.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's good. I mean, there were things we made up for the character, it wasn't all based on her. When Adam's showing Pete the flat, basically, it's like, first bedroom's mine, the one with Iron Man's on it is Don. Is Iron Man at his Don's bedroom? Alright, what about the one with the Hello Kitty poster? He's like, that's Sarah's room.
It's like with a slight bit of disdain. You think, for God's sake.
That's Sarah's room. I mean, she's nice enough, She watches My Little Pony, loves cats, bit of plays World of Warcraft.
I describe her like Catwoman, the Catwoman from The Simpsons.
No, she's not that mental. She's got a kind of geeky things. And that's the thing. It's one of those character traits we never even thought of. It was just something to give us some interest without meeting her, because she didn't make an appearance until it was originally the second episode, but then now it's the third episode, and something in between. It was just something to give us some personality without meeting her. So we know these about her already. She plays World of Warcraft, so she's on the slightly nerdy, geeky side. Loves cats, fair enough, a lot of females do. Watches My Little Pony. Okay, we've got a kind of vague, generalised look at what she's like, but we know something about her. As far as the people go, when we first scene in the flat, Adam is reading a book which is revealed to be how to brew your own beer.
Was it brewing your own beer for dummies or something?
Oh, it was something like that. It was basically, a way of making your own beer. Or beer on a budget.
Brewing beer on a budget, yeah.
That's the one. Alliteration.
Yeah.
Brewing beer on a budget.
Again, just a simple visual joke.
Yeah, Don, we know, he's Canadian. He's got an Iron Man poster on his bedroom door. So I'm not sure if he likes action movies or he's kind of nerdy or whatever. We find out he's more on the nerdy side of things when we hear him yelling at a match on Halo in his bedroom. He comes storming out because he's annoyed at the people he was playing with.
Which of course leads to brilliant arguments down the line between Adam and Don's character over certain things like
getting video game references wrong, So meanwhile, I'm going to be out drinking while you're worrying about how many hit points Master Chief has. Master Chief doesn't have hit points. You get experience points as a Spartan, but that's not Master Chief. It's just another Spartan. I don't care.
I'm going for a pint.
Do you want to come? Yes, I do. and like we said, we right to what you know. I mean, I think it's fair to me saying that most of season 1 I wrote.
Yeah.
With
I think how it worked with season 1 was you came up with the basic script, and I just threw ideas in sort of like that line would work better here, and I think I wrote more the visual side.
Yeah, you had when we came up with Skeleton, it was 50-50. If not, you doing more of the work as far as how the season's going to go. Then the actual episode, I wrote the first draft of the script, and then I ran it by you, and you said, would it be better if this character said that line instead, or would this line work better? And the tweaks of it there. You came up with more of the Skeleton, I wrote the first draft, and then we both fine-tuned it. I think is that fair assessment?
I think probably, if you describe it like a sandwich.
No, please don't. Let's keep it in script writing terms.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say sort of like, I laid out the framework, you put the bricks in, and all that kind of stuff. I was going to go into lettuce and mayonnaise, but...
You put the bread, I lay down the meat and salad, you just put the cucumbers in different places.
I moved the cucumbers about a bit, and then I cut it in half, you cut it into quarters.
There we go.
We're not posh.
Cucumber sandwiches aren't posh.
Quarter cucumber sandwiches are. These are the sort of arguments we have, ladies and gentlemen.
And this is the type of thing that might end up going into a script. And the other thing with having the Canadian character in there was another perspective on things. Because being in Britain, we see a lot of American shows like Friends, like The Big Bang Theory, you know the ones, right? And they'll make American terms, just as casual references, and the audience laughs because they're in America, they get them. And we don't have much of a frame of reference. I mean, we can kind of get on about whether it's like an American football term or a baseball term or that kind of thing, but there's some that go over your head. So now we can do these things because by having an international thing with it, we can make an English reference that Don doesn't get, and it's explained. So anyone who's watching outside of England, oh, now I get the joke.
Yeah.
And Don can make a reference that anyone outside of England can, I say outside of England, people in the States, that kind of thing. But Don can make a reference that the rest of the house don't get, and he has to explain it, or
usually the other way of it is, the idea behind it is Tom and Don have known Adam and Don have known each other for a year already. So Adam's got used to this, and one of his favourite things to do is translate Don into English.
Yeah, the Don to English dictionary, that's going to be a thing.
It's going to be a thing.
I'm going to write that down, actually. I'll make a
Don to English dictionary.
The Don to English. There's a graduation present.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just having these... So we don't have to worry about limiting ourselves with how we phrase ourselves because we can translate it in the show. Is this going to work in America? Well, it will because we've got someone from that side of the Atlantic.
Yeah. And of course, with the whole translation thing, is if he says something in Canadian lingo that none of the house get, the American and Canadian audience will find that bit amusing, but it'll be found funny by the British audience when I translate it.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, we're not saying either nation's thick, but...
It's helping the joke work on a different level.
Yeah.
For years. Because I mean, Don makes a reference, example. Right? Don makes a reference. Canadian audience laughs at it, American audience laughs at it. Adam translates it, the English laugh at it, and the people in Canada and America say the English ones are a little thick because they have to have it translated. But by the same token, Adam makes a reference, Don needs it translating, and the English and the American side and the Canadian side is the bit thick. It's not the implication, but it's the inference.
Yeah. I mean, it's like...
So it's not the intention, I should say.
I think like a simple small one is where you walk in and say you've got a takeout.
Yeah.
And I translate it to takeaway. And...
No, get it right, it's not takeout, it's takeout.
It's a takeaway. And that is your English lesson for today.
that was something different, I can't remember what that line was. But before the end of season 1, it did become a running thing where it was going to be Adam translating something and saying, and that is your English lesson for the day, or just making a reference that he's had to translate yet another thing.
Yeah.
Just things like takeout and takeaway, pavement and sidewalk.
Soccer and football.
Yeah, exactly. Hockey and sport. Sorry, I'm kidding, go Leafs. Because there's a... One of those things...
Wait a minute, did you just refer to hockey as a sport? I thought hockey was a brawl.
Yeah,
that's another argument that's going in there.
I went to watch a fight and a hockey match brought out, Because there's the things, Don and Adam are going out, and you're looking. Adam's looking in the mirror, sorting his tie or whatever. It's like, is that, are you nearly ready? And you just hear Don shout from the bedroom. Almost. I'm just deciding between the Leafs and the Blue Jays. Are you placing a bet? Is it different sports genius? Which jersey am I going to wear? Well, don't wear either. Dress nice. If it's like Canadians, I'm trying to pick between. I'm trying to think of an example now, but Wigan Athletic and the.
Turn around. It's like saying it's like saying Castleford Tigers or Manchester United.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. One's rugby, one's football. It's like in the case of the ones that Don mentioned. The Leafs are the hockey team and the Blue Jays are the baseball team. It's just those kind of things. Silly little throwaway jokes.
Yeah.
But it gives more to develop.
Adds
characters.
dimension to the character level. Yeah.
Yeah. Part of the reason we decided to make Sarah a little nerdier, like say the World of Warcraft thing and the cats, because it was like, how would she fit in with the group? Because we have the Don, Peter, Adam, Pete's relationship. If we know Don's going to be a gamer, whatever else. If Sarah's also a little bit nerdy, maybe different sort, she plays Warcraft and he plays Halo, but it's something else that they can have in common, which again that Chandler type character, which ties the whole group together. Because without Don, there's no way Sarah and Adam are going to live together after a year. She'll find her own place.
Or Adam will have beaten her brutally with an empty beer can, and it would be an empty beer can.
Yeah, because there'd be no full ones left in the flat.
And then of course, I think another good thing we've done with season 1 and what we've got season 2 so far.
I know this all sounds a lot like us praising ourselves, but this is basically a look inside what goes on
in our heads.
And if for us to say we're proud of something, if we're not proud of it, it doesn't go in an episode.
Yeah.
So by us saying, I know the good thing we've done, it's not just us saying, oh, we're amazing, we're brilliant. It's something we've enjoyed doing it. I mean, we have enjoyed writing it, whether 7 people watch it or 7 million people watch it. We don't care because we enjoy doing it. We enjoy filming it.
Yeah, and of course, anything like another thing with it, if there's something like a tool we used in Third Degree that people who are wanting to write something but don't know where to start, see, oh, that's a good idea. I could use that. That sort of style of doing something is, share what you know.
Yeah.
No, don't keep it to yourself. Otherwise, things will die off.
Yeah, I saw something about. It was a tweet I got a couple of days ago actually about. Webcomics.
Yeah.
You're familiar with webcomics. I know you don't read them, but you know what they are. Just comics on the web. Simple enough. Is that I couldn't find anyone writing the stories I want to read, so I wrote it. And so basically, no one's making the show I want to watch, so I'll make it.
Yeah.
And I don't have a particularly obscure sense of humour, and the same with you. I mean, we've got certain things that we like that other people may not. I mean, we're both big MASH fans.
Yeah.
MASH isn't a particular huge show with people of our age group. But I think because people don't give it a chance because it's older and whatever. We appreciate good writing and that kind of thing.
Effectively, we're a bit of a comedy throwback with a weird sense of humour.
Yeah, exactly. We're kind of twisted in that sense. You mentioned Porridge earlier.
Yeah.
You like the two Ronnies. I like Morecambe and Wise. We mentioned MASH.
Yeah, but one thing we've always said is you cannot compare the two.
No, exactly. You can't. They're both good in their own rights, and it's one of those. If we enjoy it, someone somewhere is going to enjoy it as well.
Yeah.
And it's the same with anyone else who wants to write, if it's a comic book or a novel or a show or a movie. If you enjoy it and you've got a group of friends who enjoy it and they'd be happy to help you do it, someone is going to enjoy it.
I mean, what is it you usually say? Comedy for two, still comedy?
Exactly, yeah.
So in other words, even if we don't get anywhere with Third Degree, we've had a laugh doing it.
Yeah. I mean, one example I always come back to is Red vs. Blue and Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
Right? That was a show. For anyone who isn't familiar, Rooster Teeth is a web-based company making original content, and it started off as basically 3 guys in a spare bedroom playing Halo, making jokes about why is the Jeep called a Warthog? It looks more like a Puma. It was going to be a 5-episode thing, leading to the ultimate payoff of a joke is Reds versus Blues, and then the new guy ends up in pink armour. It was going to be 5 episodes. That was it, and here we are 12 years later. and 60 odd people working for them. They're in the 5th studio, and they're making new cartoons and all this other stuff, and side companies. And he's based off that, and it found an audience. And also saying the same thing can't happen. I'm not saying it's going to, but saying it can't happen with Third Degree, or someone who's watching this is writing. Nostalgia critic. He's not your cup of tea. I like him. Other people do. It was just one guy in his room talking about movies. People enjoyed it. They thought it was funny, and now he's part of a company that's the League of Super Critics, and part of Channel Awesome. That's his full-time job now. I know it's anyone. The good thing about the internet is anyone can get rich on the internet if you have the right thing. Bad thing is anyone can do it.
Yeah.
So you've got to shift through a lot of shit to get to the good stuff. And how you find the good stuff is different, especially now with social media. We can put an episode out, put it on YouTube, share it on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and all kinds of other things, and then shared in 2 friends and 2 friends, and so on and so on, and thus the virus is spread and get going that way.
Yeah.
Or just by chance, you could watch something. You might have found this, not through us. You're on something on YouTube, you've watched something, the videos ran out, and it's like, if you like this, you might like this. And just related videos. And there goes my phone again.
Yeah, hence why we'll write stuff like banana in the related thing. That way it shows up everywhere.
Yeah,
we'll cheat. That's what I mean. We'll cheat.
We'll put tags in there, And if you don't like us, if you don't like the show, let us know. I mean, we're always open to criticism. As long as you don't, we welcome it if it's not. You guys suck.
Yeah. In other words, if we welcome intelligent criticism.
Exactly.
If you're a dumbass, all we do is send round Craig Collins.
Yeah. if you could say it's like the show isn't for me, but it's well made. It's just not for me. Fair enough. We appreciate that. Thank you for your feedback. If you're just going to say lame, then don't bother posting.
Someone writes lame, I'm sorry, but if I get access to replying to comments, it's like, did it take you 6 weeks to write that? I mean, you write something that's just a 2-word comment that's absolutely no use whatsoever, I will reply with something witty, evil and sinister.
Yeah.
Probably relating to your very low IQ. But how we got onto this and everything like that is comedic skill.
Exactly.
And that what I was going on to was being able to lead back to something like a good comedian like Ed Burns, very good at it, Darryl O'Brien. It seems to be an Irish comedian trait. Is being able to be on a subject and then just fly off on a tangent, and then just come back to the thing that they were talking about.
Who's the master of it? Billy Connolly.
How
many times has he started telling a story? So, before I say that, let me just say this, and then he'll tell that story, but then 45 minutes. So I'm saying at this interview, and then he goes, "Oh God, he never finished that story. Oh yeah. My God."
But and then there's adapting that to the writing of an episode where, I don't know how much into episodes you want to go, but
we'll keep it spoiler free.
Yeah. But say the beer festival episode.
Okay.
There's a joke at the start, and then the end of the episode links back to that joke.
Yes, but that's the one with the Leafs and the Jays.
Yeah, that's the Leafs and the Jays.
We're getting ready to go to the beer festival.
Yeah.
So Adam and Don are getting ready to go to the beer festival.
Yeah, and as I say, we've got some stuff planned for that episode. That's going to be a really fun one to do.
If all comes together.
If all comes together, that's going to be a really fun one for me and you to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even if some things don't come together, it's still going to be really fun because we're going to be going out drinking on a budget. Yeah. On a bigger budget, I should say.
I should say we're going to go out drinking and we've got a bloody excuse this time.
Yeah, we can go out drinking and claim on expenses.
Yeah. It's just a shame that we're the ones providing the expenses in the first place. It just sounds cool to say it's on expenses.
Yeah, exactly. We can send it to the accountant and get it back in taxes.
So you mean, in other words, I've got to go, drink, send the receipts to myself, and then pay them receipts back into my own pocket?
Yes. I like it.
Yeah, that's the logic that surrounds the back scene of Third Degree.
And I mean, this isn't. We've talked about Third Degree. But should we go a bit more into R2 Studios? In fact, take a break, and when we come back, we'll do the how R2 Studios came about, the backstory on that, how we met each other, as it were.
Dun 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 dun. See you in 9 seasons.
And welcome back. Kids, I'm going to tell you the story of how we met each other. This goes back, about 10 years now.
Oh. Ooh, steamy.
Looking good. So, like I said, this goes back about 10 years now when we met at college, Barrow Sixth Form College in Cumbria.
Jonathan.
Our tutor, Mark Whitehead, because I'd done a year at college and then took a year out to do like work experience type of things, apprenticeship, and then came back from my second year after that. And I made some, basically I came back because I made some friends the first time round, visited them on a day off, and met new people and things like that. And like, you know, I'm going to come back to college and, you know, finish off these courses I've started. And I turned up late my first day. We're off to a great start, but...
Well, earlier on that day, I had been shoehorned into this tutor group room. I had turned up smack on the time we were supposed to be there. Hence, the room was full with everybody else, and there was 2 chairs left at the back of the room. So I decided I'm going to sit down there. Roll 15 minutes into the lesson, and who should walk through the door?
Hello!
I have the only empty seat next to me. He's wearing a Stone Cold t-shirt.
What, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The What t-shirt. It was literally walking, hi Mark, I'm back, sorry I'm late, having trouble with the moped. That's alright Paul, have a seat, right there next to Tom, the only seat available. And like, morning, you alright? I'm Paul Smurf, however I introduce myself. I'm Tom, nice shirt. Cheers. And we both hit it off because found out he's a wrestling fan, and you know, wearing a wrestling shirt, he automatically knew I was, and you can see I'm still wearing a wrestling shirt. Not much has changed, and he's wearing a wrestling shirt now. He's changed his wardrobe in the takes.
Yeah, it was like over the break that we're not going to say how long it was.
Yeah. Screw continuity.
Yeah.
I should have sat on that side just to really fuck with things.
Yeah.
So we hit it off because we were both wrestling fans, and you knew a few people in the college.
Yeah.
Because you'd been at school with them and whatever else. And I knew the people that I'd come back to see anyway. And both smokers at the time, when the tutor group finished, we went down to the smoking area, have a cigarette, and I introduced you to some of the people, because there was a couple of them out there, and took you back to where we hung out, which was called the chaplaincy, which is
This is after I've introduced you to a couple of people in the tutor group that I knew already.
Yeah, exactly.
Or as they later became, sort of like, cronies, our giggling crew.
Yeah, exactly. Our little henchmen.
Yeah, just when we held up a sign saying applause, that's just...
We milk it for all it's worth, yeah. And we had people that help us there, our cheerleaders, as it were.
Yeah.
So I took you to the chaplaincy, which is supposed to be like the religious centre of the college, and on occasion it was, you know, on the things we were supposed to, on Easter and Christmas.
Usually when we were in lessons.
Yeah, usually when we weren't there. So I introduced you to the people, including one of the people who was also a wrestling fan, who was I can't remember what band it was now. It was Lost Prophets, I think. Which we should talk about now.
Yeah, probably should talk about it. Well, we both like the same band, and I'd just come back from a gig.
Yeah, and this is actually the person who the character of Sarah was based off of.
So it was sort of like, I like you, but you're a git. I think that was the first thing that she ever said to me.
Yeah.
I like you, but you're a git.
Yeah.
So like, you've learned what I like very quickly.
Yeah, and because for my first day of college, before my first year, I was sat out front with a couple of people that I knew, and she came up the steps, you know, on the main entrance, and she was wearing a DX t-shirt, you know, and then because my mum got me a new wardrobe, basically, you know, new college, new standard. I didn't like half the stuff she bought me. Can I please just wear my DX shirt? Can I wear my Steve Austin shirt? Can I wear my Xbox? You know, come on.
Mothers shouldn't shop for you.
You know, so I went shopping when I got these clothes or whatever. And right away, first day, here's a girl wearing a DX t-shirt. I was like, nice shirt. And I'm like, oh, cheers. And that was basically it. I saw her around college every now and again. And it wasn't until I went in that gap year and met her properly, and I had a good crack with her. And then went back to college, meeting you, and then we properly started hanging out and found out more what she was like, you know, because, you know, liking metal music and, you know, being the wrestling fan. And the really bubbly personality, just a great laugh to have, and that's one of the reasons we thought of her when we were coming up with the character, and thought, well, because she did performing arts, I did performing arts at college, as well as school or whatever else, and she was in my performing arts class, and we both auditioned for this movie type thing, not short movie that's going to be set in Barrow. We had a Ghostbusters piece because we both like the Ghostbusters movie. It was actually the scene where Peter first goes back to Dana's apartment. You know, it's like going around the kitchen, all that shit. And she got a part, and I didn't. Fair enough. But it was always one thing. I know she liked acting. It wasn't just kind of, you know, you haven't done acting per se, college or school or anything else.
Yeah.
Your closest experience with acting is wrestling, but you'd like to be involved in it, and you know, so we wrote Adam with you in mind, because it basically is you with the volume turned up to 11. Don is that character that I play when
Don this is the discovery we've made. Paul doesn't have game. Don has game.
Exactly. If I was trying to get to score with someone, then yeah, I've got to become Don basically, and that's where I came from, because that's the confident side of me that I can't do. And it's a sort of acting, you know, dropping in. It's quite borderline a dangerous method. It's close to a method that Heath Ledger used, where he basically created a separate personality for the Joker. And when he'd done that, he had got some anxiety, so basically a split personality disorder, and that's how he ended up. He didn't commit suicide. He had, you know, he had trouble sleeping, took too many sleeping pills, and didn't wake up again. Rest in peace, Heath Ledger. And so it's that kind of acting method where you come up with a whole backstory for this character.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass sometimes because you just can't switch it off.
No, exactly.
We're walking down the street, there's just like, Smurf, we're not in there anymore. You're not trying to impress her anymore. You don't need to be Canadian anymore.
I can't help it. I just get in the accent and then that's it. I'm off on a roll, and it can be a bit annoying, but it can also. I mean, New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
We were out, and my God, New Year's Eve should be the big party of the year. That's and it was boring. So I was like, guys, sorry, I'm not going to be around for midnight. He said, you what? No, but Dan's going to be around for midnight. Oh, here we go.
I'm straight away, right! Let's go find the vulnerable group.
Yes. Have you met me?
It's like, have you met Don?
And to the point where we were out drinking in Preston, and the Irish lass. And she was the girl's
No, she was a leprechaun! We found a leprechaun!
Alright, she was a leprechaun. She was handing out the flyers to, you know, take this to the club, you know, it's like £1 off entry and a free drink when you get in there. Alright, sure, I'll be sure to check it out. Are you Canadian? Because it's normally like, normally get the, where are you from, are you American, that kind of thing. Are you Canadian? So right off the bat, like, yeah, how can you tell? I was like, I lived there for a year. I was like, oh God.
And I just looked at it and said, get out of this one, you bitch!
No, I looked at you thinking, this could go very well, or very badly, very quickly.
And I just sat there looking, just stood there looking smug.
And I've always got the same backstory, it's the same story that Don on the show has, where he's from and everything else. So, alright, whereabouts were you living? I was over in Vancouver. I was like, oh, I see the other side of the country, I'm from Scarborough, Ontario. Oh, right, so, quick look to you, fucking dodged a bullet there. But then we ended up talking about 5 minutes about how nice that part of the country. I've never been to Canada, you know. Let alone not the Canadian. I've never been to Canada, you know. And we're talking about the beautiful part of the country. You know, I used to spend summers out there, you know, and make the drive down because you're right close to Seattle, and on a clear day you can see the Space Needle. And meanwhile, her friend who was also handing out leaflets is looking at the two of us talking and him, wondering what the hell is going on.
Yeah. In other words, he kept that conversation going just long enough for me to make eye contact with the other one and go, have you got a clue what they're going on about? Her to turn around and say, not a clue. Instantly, I've then got to start a conversation with her.
Yeah.
So I'm now looking at him thinking, I'm going to cut your Canadian gonads off. But she wasn't bad. What have I told you? If you have to say the word bad in a sentence, it's not good.
Alright, it was serviceable.
Serviceable is how we now describe it.
So that's...
Have we just given away to the viewers that if we ever describe them as serviceable, we're not that impressed?
But we won't say it to the face. It's more of an inside to us, you know,
yeah.
Director's note. But that's kind of the quick story of how we met.
But that's the one thing that wasn't realised by Mark, Jonathan, whatever he's calling himself now.
Yeah.
What's he going to turn up as next? Tensai?
The man of many gimmicks.
Yeah. But what he didn't realise was, by sitting him next to me, he made the next year of his life a misery.
We'd come in, you know, But 2 minutes to the bell for the lesson. Morning, Jonathan. Oh, I can't be asked today. Go and have a fag.
Go and have a fag. Are you marking us in? Yeah. Right. See ya. Go.
I should translate for anyone else. A fag is British slang for cigarette. You know, no homo. So we hung out for while we were at college and things, and then I left college early for reasons I'm not going to go into here. We kind of drifted apart. We didn't see much of each other, and then we just kind of stopped seeing each other altogether until we randomly ran into each other.
I got on your bus.
When I was a bus driver and you got on my bus, it was like, Smurf, bloody hell, how are you doing? I'm just driving across to Walney. I think you basically stood behind the driver the whole time having the crack. You know, I'm going around letting people on and off and blah 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 blah, and still just chatting to you. And shouldn't have been done. I could have been fired for it, but whatever. You know, I didn't care.
The amount of things we ended up doing in the following year and a half, you could have got fired for any single one of them.
Oh yeah, and they fired me for a completely different reason.
Yeah, they found one eventually.
Yeah. And I think you went to go down Metal Express this weekend. It was some of the media, or whatever it's called at the time. The rock club.
So put it this way, I was rolling with Nick then, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Me and Nick were rolling all the time. So some of the stupid things we got up to.
And it was basically from there I went down because I was hanging out with Phoenix, and you were hanging out with Nick, and Nick and Phoenix obviously knew each other. And I sort of knew Nick, and hit it off from there. Then, because this was in '07. Because I was driving the buses, and you not long got with Rachel, so I met and brought me down for karaoke at the Peacock. Met Rachel, met Laura, got invited to download because Rachel, Laura, and you were going to download.
Then I can get the time off work.
Yeah. So it's not like I jumped on your ticket. I got my own ticket, and you couldn't make it. So I know Rachel and Laura anyway. It should be fun. The Download Music Festival, go see Korn and Linkin Park, and that was all I needed to buy a ticket, you know, for this weekend festival. I was like, who's performing? Korn, alright, Linkin Park, I'm there, Linkin Park, my favourite band, you know, at the time they were anyway. I still think highly of them, you know, still.
Yeah, they sort of like did some really good stuff and then they started taking a dump on CD.
Yeah. it's like, but there's the thing, even if you're not a fan, it's the same with movies or books or anything else. You know, people shit on the Star Wars prequels, you know, oh, they ruined my childhood with the prequels. Like, you don't have to watch the prequels, you can watch the original Star Wars trilogy, and you can go back and listen to Hybrid Theory, and it's still a good album. And Meteora, it wasn't as good as Hybrid Theory in a lot of people's books, but it's still a really good album.
And this way, you buy any of the ones the others and you don't like it, coaster.
There you go. I mean, that's what Danny always says about, you know, you buy my CD, I don't care if you're black, white, you like it, hate it, just buy my shit. You can serve your drinks on it, I'll wear it as earrings, just buy the shit. So that's where we got reunited, that. And the wrestling thing was still a connection. And the following year, I started going to wrestling training down in Manchester.
And then there was that infamous session.
Yeah.
The infamous wrestling training session.
And then, because I've been going for a few months, because you were away doing your course for your job, working in Portsmouth. And then you came with me on a session. It was me, you, and another guy who we wrestled with. Your first session, and they kind of already knew me. Well, they knew me there already. I've brought people. No, Mark didn't come with us the first time.
No, it was me, you, and Tyree.
Yeah. I was thinking of the one with Mark here, but the first time it was with Tyree.
I've got a month on Mark.
Yeah, exactly. Because that was the one when you and Tyree came. That was where I fought Mothman at the end of the thing, and I got hit with a giant swing, and everyone saw I was wearing a thong. So when I won, I dropped my shorts and showed my ass, because, you know, they're already making fun of me wearing a thong. Yeah, have a proper look at it. Which, got a laugh.
Yeah, but the training session that involved the two of us and another guy who's now working with us in KLW.
Yeah.
Down there, was it 150 squat chops, I ended up with a handprint on my chest.
Handshake bruise, yeah.
And as I got hit harder, I was hitting him harder.
It was the person who was leading it, the trainer, then you, then me, and then another friend of ours would come who was a female. And chops in wrestling is the slap to the chest, right? And it's going to the right. So like I say, it's the guy like Dominic doing the squat. You do the squat, as you get up, you chop the person to the right. and he's getting chopped harder and harder by the person running it. So he's chopping me harder and harder because
while giving Nixie a massive shit-eating grin every time he's like, "Not all you got."
and I've got to slap Chelsea across the chest, and occasionally copying a field because A, you couldn't help it. You just had quite big tits. They were going up and down, so you had to get a good aim. And C, I'm a bloke. Boobs are boobs. Yeah.
But they say that training session was just hilarious though because the suplex competition.
Yeah.
Two of the trainers, one of these trainers, how tall would you say he's?
I don't know. I think we're going too nitty gritty into the wrestling side of things.
Put it this way, big. This guy's big.
He's big.
And I managed to suplex him, and sort of like we got hit off straight away. So of course, half the people who were in the train station pile into the pub afterwards.
Yeah.
And I've got a handprint on my chest. So this guy who met me 3 hours earlier decides to buy the round because I'm laughing about it.
Yeah. And I can't drink because I've got to drive us all back the 200 odd miles from Manchester to Barrow.
Yeah. Which seemed to get quicker every time we did it.
I did that in less than an hour once. Well, not back home, but to the roundabout with the top of the bypass.
Yeah.
Where the name Red Studio comes from, because like I said, we've done the wrestling, we've done shows. In wrestling, my name is X-Rated and he's Adam Adrenaline Rush, which is where Adam Rush, the character, comes from and everything else. And we started doing tag team matches. We thought come up with a tag team name. And we couldn't really think of anything.
We mused over this for ages.
I know, we couldn't think of anything that worked. And one thing that kept coming back was Rated Rush. We thought, it does sound a little plain, a sort of a rip-off of WWE Tag Team Rated RKO, but it kept coming up and coming up and coming up. And we finally both said, why not?
I think what the case was we had a run of 4 shows that was going to lead into us winning the promotion's tag titles.
Yeah.
And it's like, you need a tag name, I'm putting the tag belts on you. Oh, Rated Rush will do.
Yeah.
So even the entrance music was an accident.
Yeah, it's like, what music are you using? Well, what have you got on here? Ooh, it's going down by Executioners. Well,
that'll do.
Well, that, thank you very much, because I already used Linkin Park and you were using Korn at the time, weren't you?
And then, of course, we go out through the curtain, do the first proper tag match we've done as a team, as Rated Rush, and I again end up with massive purple handprints. This time on my back.
Yeah. So we had the name Rated Rush, and we thought we'd come up with a logo. And I downloaded this font, the Batman Forever font, for my X-Rated logo. Just for t-shirts and things. So I thought we'll use that just for now, see what we can come up with. And I think you came up with the idea of the back-to-back R's, one red, one blue, because I wore red and black ring gear, you wore black and blue. So one red R, one blue R, with Rated Rush in white across the middle of it. And that's where the R squared comes from. It's like, we're already using this logo. If we just take Rated Rush off it and keep the 2 R's, that's because we can't just put it out as, put the show on YouTube, Third Degree on Smurf 619's YouTube channel or whatever. We need to do them proper, and title cards and things. What can we call it? We need a production studio. And that's where that came from. It's like things like that. It's like Jackass with Dick House Productions. They needed something. They threw something at the wall. Rooster Teeth comes from an inside gag because they used to use the cockbite. It was an insult that playing at Halo on Xbox Live or whatever, but probably not Xbox Live at that, because it didn't even exist at that point. But just playing Halo with each other, get blown. Oh, you cockbite! And it was going to be Cockbite Productions. We can't put Cockbite on a T-shirt. It's like, all right, fine, we'll make it PC. I don't know, Rooster Teeth. I don't know. And that's where that came from. It's like, what's another name for a cock? Penis. No, not phallic. All right, rooster. Rooster bite. Rooster teeth. Like it. Rooster teeth. Sounds good. Basically, that's a simplified version of it. But and that's where R squared comes from. Because our tag team name in wrestling, we stopped tagging as often. We still had the logo, which we never got used. Apart from in videos we put together. We were going to put it on T-shirts.
So in other words, if we didn't show more sense than Rooster Teeth, this could have been called Quantified Quickly Productions.
Yeah. What? Okay. Sure. Why not? It could have been. The thing is, if you
take time to think about it.
Yeah, just whatever we need at the time. Yeah.
I was just thinking another word for Rated Rush.
Oh. Yeah.
By the same token.
Yeah. So that's where our square came from. And the thing is, if we weren't wrestling fans, it probably wouldn't have happened because we didn't have that much in common. We had sort of similar taste in music, in metal, and that kind of thing. We were both doing the same. We were in each other's form group at college. That was about it.
I think the only
without wrestling, there's not much tying us together.
I think the only other thing that tied us together was you came back with confidence because you'd been at the college for a year already. I was in there with confidence because I was a bit of a dick. In other words, he sat the two most brash people in the room together, and then we realised that the daughter of my former IT teacher wasn't wearing underwear one day. And that just sealed the deal, we were off.
Yeah. And now you see where the persona of Adam comes from. It's bits of Tom and bits of Barney Stinson.
Yeah.
Because that guy's awesome.
And then, of course, one thing we've realised later on and everything like that, now one of the guys we wrestled with, his sister was in that tutor group.
And it all comes full circle.
It all comes full circle and everything like that. And he's heard the stories.
Yeah. So, oh, you're those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we tell him wink stories about his sister.
Which I'm sure
I should say we tell the rest of the roster wink stories about his sister.
Yeah. It is weird because we've said the story, we've never really talked that much about our origins, because we know our origins, we've never had to give exposition on it. You know, we're not a comic book, we don't...
We haven't been put up in court yet.
We haven't been rebooted, you know, so just thinking about it, like, without wrestling, this probably wouldn't happen. If I hadn't become a wrestling, if I had stopped watching wrestling at the same time as my brother, boom, or if you hadn't got into it, because you weren't into it for long before you met me. You started watching like 01 or something.
Yeah, I picked it up in 01.
Yeah,
right,
met me in 04. You know.
I picked it up.
I think you said the Royal Rumble.
Sledgehammer shot in the cage.
After WrestleMania. I thought you said Royal Rumble.
I watched Mania.
Right.
But then I went back and watched the Rumble before I watched Mania.
Right,
so it's sort of like in No Way Out into Mania, I picked it up that year.
Oh, so you Sledgehammer at Austin or Sledgehammer at Rock?
Rock.
Alright, so No Way Out. That's the Raw after
Raw after Mania.
Yeah, okay.
That was the first Mania I watched as it aired in the UK.
Okay, with you now. We're getting off topic there. Because we've had ideas for doing other things as well. I mean, with the idea of writing a quote-unquote movie before, and now for something completely random. Because we thought it'd be fun.
Which is another reason you could have got fired from working on the buses.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
This all makes sense if we chop it up and put it in the right order. Which probably won't because we're lazy.
You had this idea. It was basically an excuse for us to go out drinking in a different city and just film shit while we were there. That was basically the idea. There's kind of a story, you know, but pay attention, you never know.
Yeah.
But when we settled down to write the sitcom, which again spawned from the idea of just doing a trailer that was going to have no movie or show behind it, you know, that the superhero thing. It was literally just going to be a stunt piece. And then, you know, no intention of making a show about it. You said just do an actual show or a sitcom. It sat down to write it. It's like, this is a good premise. There's good characters. You've got a good plot, and good progression, good pacing.
We actually found something we were good at.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, we're filming this before we've even started filming the show, and it's going to be on YouTube before the show is, obviously.
Yeah.
So for people to, as a kind of teaser as to what's coming. And we've told you the premise in part one about, you know, being people at university. If you do want to be involved, let us know. You know, just bear in mind we are in north of England. You have to come to us, and you know.
Travel expenses not included.
Exactly, expenses not included. If we make money on the back end from selling DVDs and stuff, you might get a cut. We'll talk. That's
you won't get a free T-shirt. It won't fit. It'll be one that I don't want to wear anymore because I don't like it. But you get a free T-shirt.
Yeah. And that's why we thought about using our mates, like the girl from college, because we know them. We'll have a crack with them. We know what they can bring to the character because usually we've written the character for them. And the local, we don't have to worry about shipping people in and knowing how, you know, what's it going to be like when we have chemistry on set. Because we know we will. We've had chemistry off set. You know, there was another guy we wanted to bring in. We wanted to use Tyree, but he didn't want it in front of the camera role.
I say we've got people in. I say most of the roles were written around somebody we knew, and around dynamics we knew.
Adam and Sarah was definitely We knew who those three were.
Yeah, and Pete is based off a couple of people that we know, kind of amalgamated together.
Exactly. I think there can't be three people in there.
Yeah, it actually, the idea of Pete, and if anything, the whole premise behind Third Degree goes back to what happened after you left college. It was where you had me and another mate of mine who had been there a year already. And we were back in AS physics because we're a bit thick and we failed AS physics. But physics is hard, especially when you spend most of the time going fishing when you should be in physics.
There you go.
Or when we say going fishing, what I mean is looking for a goldfish in a pint that was never turning up at the bales.
Yeah. Gone fishing.
Yeah. But anyway, and then there's this lad who's fresh out of school, very impressionable in there. For the sake of argument, let's call him Pete for now. So, we're teaching him the ways and means of college. By the first half term, this guy's mum hates me. Because I've got him out drinking every weekend, but we managed to break every single physics experiment. You gave us a plastic cup and a thermometer, we'd break it. And it's similar to that, but the thing is, now the same guy who was Pete in that situation is exactly like we are. I mean, this is the guy that we flew in from Ireland to Edinburgh.
Who first met Don.
Yeah, who met Don in a foreign country that it was flown to from a foreign country. Met us in the bar.
Meeting the guy pretending to be from another foreign country. It became a bad joke.
Yeah.
An English guy, a Manc, a Canadian, and an Irishman walk into a bar in Scotland full of Welsh people that culminated us meeting an American in Rich Hall at Lancaster Station in England.
Yeah. In other words...
Swear to God, true stories!
Put it this way, I mean, some of the stuff we've done, you look at it and go, you can't write this shit. Because every time we seem to go somewhere, it turns into a horrible Englishman, Irishman, Scotsman joke.
Yeah. I mean, just us coming back from a neighbouring town on a bus after we've had a few drinks. Doesn't sound like it should be that eventful. But when you got a football chant going for the bus driver, who happens to be my dad, and was doing the cha-cha slide and the oops upside your head down the middle of the bus.
Yeah.
Legendary.
Yeah.
Stuff you can't write that stuff. That's the stuff and that's why.
And we won't go into what happened in Tyree's garden.
Which time? There's been too many.
Me, you, and Tyree, and a lot of different flavours. It's like, what is the best lager? Why? There is 12 in the fridge. Let's find out.
All right. Challenge accepted.
And then, of course, we're given a time scale because I've got to get out of a very sticky situation.
Yeah. I think we had Alka-Pops as well. I think there was some Wicked in there as well, wasn't there? So, that's us. That's R Squared Studios. That's Third Degree. We talk about our co-stars, but we don't know who they're going to be yet. Yeah. We've got ideas, but we don't
start bringing them into the studio as we find them.
Yeah.
We bring them into the studio and gaffer tape them to a chair so they can't escape.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you want to know more about us, if you want to keep checking out this video and looking back at the channel, subscribe, like us, share us on Facebook, YouTube, Google+, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest,
Carrier Pigeon,
Reddit, anything. Share us, like us, tell your friends, tell your neighbours, tell your dog. That's who we are. Again, I'm Paul Dalton.
And I'm Tom Quayle.
And hopefully see you soon for the Third Degree.